Every electric SUV buyer reaches this same fork. One road leads to the Volvo EX30, which charges fastest, the other to the car you charge least often. For 2026, Hyundai sent the Kona Electric down that road and reached 261 miles. That is the EPA number for the American car. Volvo's EX30 matches it exactly. So one number has to break the tie. It is not the range figure, and Hyundai does not put it on the brochure cover. Subscribe and I will come back to that number before the end. Because range is only half of the electric car question, the other half is how long you stand still. Hyundai answered that by building the second Kona around the battery first instead of stretching a gas car to fit one. That choice shows first at the front, where one lit bar runs the full width of the car. Hyundai calls it the seamless horizon lamp. It also hides the aero work. Hyundai got the drag coefficient down to 0.275. Low drag is why that tailgate badge can promise so much. Air is the enemy an electric car fights hardest because every watt spent pushing it is a mile lost. So the body grew longer, the wheelbase by 2.4 inches, none of it for show. The same lit bar repeats at the back, tying the two ends of the car into one idea. Between them, the cladding that was black plastic now comes painted, and the Kona stops looking like a rental. Only the electric version gets that. Hyundai wanted you to know which Kona this was from across a parking lot. The wheels are where this gets expensive because the size you pick takes real miles off that headline number. 17-inch wheels give the full 261. Move up to 19s and it falls to 230. 31 miles, gone for a wheel design. That is the first honest thing this car asks of you. The second is quieter. It lives in the way this car turns electricity into actual distance. That is 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is why a modest battery goes far. 65 kilowatt hours is not a big pack anymore, it just gets used properly. A heat pump comes standard on every trim, which is lucky because the American car makes 201 horsepower, slightly less than Europe's. Either way, the cabin is the real argument, because Hyundai did something almost nobody does now. It kept the buttons, a physical row for the climate, with a real dial you can find without looking down. The Volvo EX30 deleted almost all of them. 2 window switches survive in the whole cabin. It also deleted the driver's display, so your speed lives on the center screen with everything else. Hyundai went the other way, with 2 12.3-inch screens and the switches kept underneath them. One of those screens sits behind the wheel. That sounds ordinary until you sit in a rival that took it away. The gear selector moved to a column stalk and the console got its floor back. That shelf holds the wireless charging pad. Keep that heat pump in mind because it decides the argument at the end. The software is the part Hyundai has quietly become very good at building. It updates over the air, maps chargers into the route, and Hyundai says it preconditions the battery on the way. That last one matters more than any menu because a cold pack is a slow pack on a rapid charger. Owners of the earlier cars learned that the hard way in cold weather and long forum threads. Hyundai's answer was software rather than a bigger battery, which is cheaper for them and lighter for you. The whole cabin follows that logic. Nothing here is expensive for the sake of it. The materials are honest rather than lavish, and the space behind them is where the money went. That extra wheelbase went almost entirely to rear knee room, which is the least glamorous upgrade Hyundai made. 2 adults fit back there without negotiating. 3 is a squeeze, and reviewers say so plainly. The floor is flat across, so the middle passenger keeps both feet and some dignity. In America, it opens at $32,975, and there is no 2026. 261 miles needs the SEL at $36,930. The Volvo EX30 asks $2,000 more than that, and the Kia Niro EV nearly $3,000 more. Which brings us to what buyers actually use. 25.5 cubic feet back here. That is a folded stroller and a full grocery run. The Volvo EX30 gives you 12.4 cubic feet and a harder decision. And there is another cubic foot under the hood, which is exactly where the cables belong. Which leaves the number I promised you, and it is written into the hardware under here. The Kona Electric runs a 400-volt system, so a rapid charger tops out near 100 kilowatts. 10 to 80% takes 43 minutes. The Volvo EX30 does that same job in 27. 16 minutes against $2,000. That is a fair bargain. If you want the same argument in a 7-seater, the Kia EV9 is next.